So what are the implications of a governor, sitting governor, speaking out like this on issues ranging from farmer protests, which he endorses, to Goa governor, to Goa chief minister being called corrupt, and to Kashmir's land dealings of the Mehbooba and Abdullah governments being brought out, saying politics has moved from being a mission to a business to worse. Rajat Sethi has worked as an election strategist with the BJP and has been close to the Manipur CM as an advisor. Gourav Vallabh is Congress's spokesperson. Let's get first reactions from both of you. Gourav Vallabh, a lot of what the governor said will be music to your ears. Goa goes to the polls in a few months from now. Here is the governor, BJP appointed, Modi government appointed, saying that there was complete corruption during COVID and also supporting the farmer protests. It almost seems as if Malik is preparing to shift sides.
Rajdeep, first of all, I will say the new slogan of Modi government is "Khoob khaunga aur khoob khane dunga." That is precisely in one line, if I can conclude the interview of Honorable Governor. What he said, that Goa CM is corrupt, and he informed Prime Minister and Prime Minister is silent. He said.
He also said that the Prime Minister is serious about containing corruption. Let's be fair. He said that there was a 300 crore deal in Jammu and Kashmir. The Prime Minister said, don't do it.
Rajdeep, I am asking you,
yes,
if somebody is corrupt and if, for example, he is your subordinate and I am informing that he is corrupt and you are saying, okay, had he removed Goa CM? My simple question is that, had he removed Goa CM? When the governor is challenging on the television that during COVID times, the Goa CM was doing corruption. He was managing that mining trucks should leave during lockdown. He is giving examples that Pramod Sawant is corrupt. He is telling that RSS man in Jammu and Kashmir is corrupt. Had Prime Minister instigated an inquiry? Had Prime Minister sent the ED notices to both the Goa CM and that RSS man, so-called, who is that? Everybody knows the name of that person. Everyone knows. The Honorable Governor is also aware. So when you are just sitting on the chair without doing anything, in other words, you are promoting corruption. Khoob khaunga, khoob khane dunga is the punchline of Modi government as far as corruption is concerned. My simple question is that if you are not instigating any inquiry, it means you are promoting the corruption. When you are aware that RSS man is involved in 100, and RSS is a synonym of corruption, Rajdeep. Whether it is Jaipur, and let me complete, whether it is Jaipur or it is Jammu and Kashmir or Uttarakhand, wherever, and in Goa also I am telling you, Rajdeep, that if you are going to inquire further, there is an RSS man who is doing corruption there also. So RSS had become a synonym of corruption. The Shaka is a training of corruption. They used to teach that how to institutionalize the corruption. And the governor, the person who belongs to the ruling party is challenging on your channel. That corruption is going on everywhere.
Rajat, this interview in a way is unusual because sitting governors don't speak out. But here he's gone to the extent of saying that a particular chief minister was corrupt, was taking money on even ration during the COVID times. Goa chief minister, who's still not been removed. There's been much speculation that along with others whom the BJP removed this year as chief ministers, the Goa chief minister would be also removed. He's not been removed. And he says that there were these deals which were being worked out where he heard that if he cleared them, he would get 300 crores. How do you see this? This is a sitting governor appointed by the government of the day. His anger on farm laws is clear because he is from the Meerut area. He's been Chaudhry Charan Singh Lohia follower. So I can see that. But his attack on corruption, is it fair to say, Rajat, that despite Prime Minister's efforts, corruption is an issue which at the state level continues?
Well, I think, Rajdeep, it is definitely an interesting interview. I will give it to that. But one needs to understand that any individual carries multiple hats and he wears multiple hats at various occasions. Currently, the governor, when he spoke about the farm-related bills, he was speaking more as a farmer and more as somebody who belongs to that area where the maximum amount of confrontation between the government and the Jat-based farmers are going on. But definitely, it puts the onus again on the government to come out and at least ensure that what he is saying merits some level of investigation. I would go to the extent of saying that I'm sure that since he sits on a constitutional position, what he says should at least be refuted in the public domain by somebody senior from within the administration, because as long as he is on a constitutional position, what he says carries some weight. But let me tell you.
Yes. Go ahead.
But let me tell you that Prime Minister, with his image, the image that he carries of having an absolutely zero tolerance to corruption within the state leaders, I know for sure that a lot of state leaders, who initially in their previous avatars might have a different approach to politics, have actually mended their approach, because the kind of clear leadership that Prime Minister has offered, and that has actually changed the fabric of politics in this country. That is also recognized by the governor. But one thing is there, that Congress at least can't be the chest-thumping people here. Congress party doesn't allow an iota of any kind of a differing thoughts. What happened to Kapil Sibbal's house, people throwing stones when he came out, even with a constructive suggestion of democracy within the institution of the Congress party. The way they were treated, all the naysayers, all the G23, all of these people, the way they were treated clearly shows an example that this party is a party of dynasty, a party which cannot tolerate any kind of dissidence, any voice of dissidence. No, but here you see a person who's actually been appointed by the political setup led by Prime Minister Modi.
No, but
he's the governor right now.
No, but yeah, sure. Yes, we are talking on that issue of corruption which has been raised. The farmer protest, Gourav Vallabh, we can argue that because Satyapal Malik comes from Meerut, therefore he is standing with the farmers. But even Rajat Sethi is admitting inquiry will be needed into the allegations on Goa. However, the flip side is, does the Congress inquire into similar allegations? It's not as if there haven't been allegations made against Congress chief ministers of corruption. There have been charges made in Rajasthan, charges made in Chhattisgarh. Here the governor is saying it. I concede that therefore it gets more coverage. But either way, if corruption is taking place, it's all, as Mr. Malik said, politics has moved from mission to business to being total corruption.
So, Rajdeep, I can give you the reason that why our rating in hunger index is consistently falling. Because हमारे राशन के पैसे चोर खा गए. The chores who are sitting at the state capitals, as pointed out by, and one of the chore was pointed out by Honorable Governor, that Goa CM is doing corruption. What he is doing, ration के पैसे खा गया. Rajdeep, during Corona times, the ration money which has to go to the poor people, because of that hunger index, our ranking is going up. वो पैसे खा गया चोर. And now he is giving me example of Sibbal. What kind of person he is? अरे चोर चोरी कर रहे. This is a double engine corruption government. Corruption at the head and corruption in the state capitals. And Prime Minister, the governor is saying, I had informed Prime Minister. For last 2 months he's transferred. 3 months back he's transferred to Northeast. What the Prime Minister had done? Had he sent the ED to the Goa CM? Had he asked the ED to inquire who is that RSS chore who had asked 150 crore from the governor for clearing that particular file? Who is that person? Had he inquired how dare Anil Ambani can do corruption?
Yeah, okay.
Can he ask
Rajdeep,
these
one
questions?
minute.
The point is very simple. You have to answer these questions.
No. Do you agree, Rajat? Do you agree this becomes embarrassing? Because one of the strong points of the Modi government has been that Mr. Modi himself has sent out the message that I have zero tolerance for corruption. Then when the governor appointed by Mr. Modi puts out a strong case of corruption against a sitting BJP chief minister, and the chief minister is retained and the governor is sent to Meghalaya, what's the message that's going out?
So, first of all, Rajdeep, I deeply condemn the kind of derogatory sense that is being projected on the Northeast, integral part of our country. The way Mr. Gourav Vallabh is trying to project Northeast as if it's some kind of a punishment posting which is being meted out to the governor is deeply, deeply reprehensible and should be condemned in no uncertain words. Northeast, if you start, carrying on that prism that Northeast is a punishment posting, all your arguments can be called into question. Now, what the governor is saying should we believe it on the face value? Does it merit investigation? All of these are questions which definitely would be presented before the Prime Minister himself, and if he would have done his background assessment on things as to where things are in terms of the.
But you believe that to avoid further embarrassment, there should be an inquiry or not? There should be a transparent inquiry, because otherwise Indian politics will never change. If a governor today is coming on record, first time a governor is coming on record to accuse a chief minister specifically of corruption, and the governor is removed, the message is going out is the wrong message.
No, Rajdeep ji, you've been in journalism for far too long. You know that one man's voice who has a habit of coming out with controversial statements without backing with facts might merit some level of investigation, but going out and treating it as the gospel truth.
No, I'm not treating it as the truth, but this is one of the senior most politicians in the country who has a reputation. He was with VP Singh, stood out as an anti-corruption crusader.
Fair enough, Rajdeep. It is one word against somebody else's word.
Sure, so there should be a proper inquiry.
He has made an assertion. He has said that there were certain things to which I suppose a public inquiry might as well be needed. But making a mole out of this thing is not merited at this stage.
I'm getting messages from Goa saying finally someone has said what we have been saying for months. These are not politicians, these are citizens who have been saying there was corruption during COVID and no one listened to it. The governor had to speak out. But Gourav Vallabh, a final word. Elections in 4 months in Goa. Is this going to become your issue? Because in the past, Congress governments in Goa have been steeped or accused of corruption of the worst kind. So, it's almost become, Goa has 40 MLAs, Ali Baba or Chalis Chor, as someone once said. Your corruption versus mine.
Rajdeep, it is not your or mine. Please try to understand chronology. When Satya Malik had raised the points and the corruption in Jammu and Kashmir, when he informed the Prime Minister about this, Prime Minister transferred him to Goa. When Satyapal Malik again raised the corruption in Goa, that this is happening, the Chief Minister is directly involved in the corruption. He is hand in gloves with the mining mafia. वो राशन के गेहूं खा गया. Then he is sent to some state, Meghalaya in northeast. Now when he will find out something there. So what you are doing? My principal question is that this is double engine of corruption. This is खूब खाओ, खूब खिलाओ और यहाँ आके बड़ी-बड़ी बातें करो. The gentleman who is there on the other side had not answered any of my question. I had asked what you were doing for last 3 months when he is telling that I informed Prime Minister and Home Minister about corruption. Then what you were doing? It means you are giving your Mon Srikrati, खूब खाओ, खूब खिलाओ. That is your agenda. That is your policy.
Okay, we will wait and see how this plays out. As I said, this is the first time possibly that a governor has openly come out and said that a particular chief minister is corrupt in the last decade, where he has actually claimed he has given instances, submitted a report to the PMO. He was transferred out, the chief minister is retained. I am told tomorrow in Goa there are likely to be protests also on this issue. Finally, a lot of citizens are saying, we have been telling you this. It required a governor perhaps to speak out. Either way, for Prime Minister Modi, it may be an opportunity, as he's done in other states, to take a strong stand against chief ministers if they are found to be people accused of corruption. Transparent inquiry, at least, at the very least. Rajat Sethi and Gourav Vallabh, I appreciate both of you joining me here on the news today.